This one right here is in Oklahoma. Look how this dense fog goes right under the tops of all these buildings.
The American Airlines flight was trying to land at Reagan Airport. The medevac plane went down right outside of Roosevelt Mall. The Houston plane caught fire at Bush Airport.
The GOAT spirit is the Illuminati.
And you do believe in it or you don't?
No. Yes, sir. MODTRICCA. Back up in this thing, man. Today, I'll be reacting to some creepy TikToks that you probably don't want to watch alone. But before we hop into that, man, go ahead and spam that like button right now so we can run the numbers up on the algorithm. And you ain't even got to think about it later. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that sub button too. Sub up, join the family. We're almost at 300,000 subscribers, and I can't thank each and every one of you guys enough for helping me build this community from the ground up. But with that being said, guys, let's get it.
This interesting return showed up on radar this afternoon, but not a drop of rain fell from the skies, and the National Weather Service suggests it's chaff. Chaff is used by military aircraft as a disguise and to throw off the radar, and it definitely threw me off earlier today, but that's a look at it right there. So no rain now, but as you look back toward the west, there's a weather maker that is headed this way. This radar imagery is indicating where the rain is falling over Louisiana and other parts. We've got a very warm night ahead.
It's a little eye-opening that this is even part of the normal forecast now.
Fog is back with vengeance, y'all. Wait till you see this compilation I put together. This right here is in LA. It's like double potent this time around. And this one right here is in Oklahoma. Look how this dense fog goes right under the tops of all these buildings. I've never seen a city look like this. And completely unrelated and irrelevant, my whole family had headaches today, y'all. And yesterday. What about y'all? The whole thing is popping crazy. Back to the point, this is South Carolina and the particles are on full blast. I know my doorbell cam was showing me the same thing lately. And yeah, I'm in South Carolina. It almost looks like snow, doesn't it? I mean, that's some thick stuff. Brief intermission, people have been seeing this all over the United States. The same exact colors just sitting in the sky while it's all going on. This is my buddy Conscious right there. He's in Florida, and my goodness, y'all, the strength of this stuff. I mean, you can barely see 10 foot. Then we got Florida with the Hadron Collider particles blasting through the sky. Of course, we got the fog just chilling with the bags, if you get what I'm saying. Can't believe those things are still up there. But if you've seen my last video, then you know what I think. But what do y'all think? Let me know in the comments.
It could be normal fog, but I've never seen fog that looks like the entire city is getting fumigated.
Have you heard of Microsoft's global patent number 060606? 2016, Microsoft partnered with the Gavi Vaccine Alliance, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, WHO, UNICEF, World Bank, WF, and the UN to start the global initiative ID 2020. The goal? To create digital ID for everyone, with the plans to link biometric data to verify identity, a global database to monitor all humans. Think of the implications with CBDCs, vaccine passports, social credit-like systems. But how would they monitor every person? This is where Microsoft's patent comes into play. WO-2020-060606. Patent for a system where human body activates brainwaves, body heat, movement, etc., is used to mine cryptocurrency. It uses body activity as proof of work instead of traditional mining that requires massive computer power. The system would reward users with cryptocurrency when their body data meets certain conditions. If you tie ID 2020 and 060606 together, the combination could be used to track and control access to money, services, and even movement. Become a social credit system where access to cryptocurrency depends on behavior and compliance. Add in a layer of AI and automation, AI would determine who gets rewarded and who doesn't, based on your body's responses. Imagine being forced to comply to something and produce a certain brainwave condition before being able to buy or sell. Some may say, they can't do that, that's crazy, it only happens in movies. You're just trying to fear us. The patent number is literally 060606. I don't know what else to tell you.
So now Bill Gates is trying to turn us into human Bitcoin mining machines. That person who smushed that pie in his face really created a monster.
So we were in the house and we heard this loud noise, a loud bang outside, and now all the street lights are all flickering in the apartment complex that I live at. I mean, every one of them is going crazy. That's so weird. It's been doing it for like 10 whole minutes right now. I don't know what it is. If anybody knows what's going on, what happens when things like this happens. But yeah, I heard a loud bang outside, and then the lights are just going crazy. All of them. Take a look at that.
The loud bang could just be a transformer explosion, but I feel like up until about 3 months ago, I've never seen or heard of street lights flickering this much. Now it seems like a common occurrence.
This was the sky last week in Los Angeles, California. Now, they hadn't been spraying chemicals in the sky since the fire, but this day they went absolutely nuts, and the next day it rained. Now, this is from today, February 2nd. I came outside and had these 2 streaks in the sky. It's 3 in the afternoon, and it went from being sunny to now it looks like the mysterious fog is back, but you can't even hardly see ahead. This is crazy. It's so dense.
If there was any time they should have been cloud seeding Los Angeles, it was 4 weeks ago to help prevent some of those fires. I don't know who's making the schedule, but their timing is terrible.
The GOAT conspiracy is the Illuminati.
That you do believe in it or you don't?
I don't believe in none of that shit. I don't think none of that shit. Especially the Illuminati shit is only us. Like, you know, how are we not benefiting?
So crazy.
If we're supposed to be running this whole thing, how the f*** I get stopped by the cops the other day? Can the Illuminati come tell him get off my ass?
Is it just me, or is this exactly how you would expect somebody in the Illuminati to respond to this question? It's not like they would ever admit it, and Cameron Diaz's laugh seems suspiciously over-exaggerated when that joke wasn't even that funny.
Now let's take a look at the crater for a second. This is what we're seeing in Philly. This is what a Russian missile crater looks like. Still in concrete, similar situation. Now this is what a JF-104A plane crater looks like. NASA uses them for test flights. Significantly bigger. As we can see in the Philly picture, there seems to be an officer standing about 12 to 13 feet away. So we can gauge that crater's probably about 6 feet wide, give or take. Very similar to this one in Russia from a missile impact. It looks nothing like the actual plane crash crater, given yes, that one was in the desert, but still, 500-mile-an-hour nosedive, concrete's not really going to do much against the plane, especially being that much bigger than a missile. I don't know, you tell me.
The crater size definitely doesn't add up, but the biggest question is where'd all the plane debris go?
Can someone tell me what this is? This is my security camera, okay? Now, you can see me over here in the white nightgown, facing the window. What is that keeps being seen in my security camera? Does anyone know what that looks like or what that could be? That keeps showing up behind me in my security camera. This is about the 3rd time it has shown up. I've checked the security cameras over and over again, and it only shows up behind me. It is not showing up behind anyone else. And of course you can see it's my security camera because I've got, right here's the line of the camera. And this is the full size of the photo. Now, this is me over here in the white gown facing the window again. What is that shadow that keeps coming up behind me? My security camera is catching it every time about the hours between 3 and 4 a.m. That is the only time my camera is showing that. Someone help me out.
I don't want to be the one to break it to you, but that might be the Grim Reaper.
Watch this video. Tell me if it doesn't look like the speakers will have someone next to them almost seemingly reciting their lines. And these are supposed to be on the cuff conversations, not something that's supposed to be pre-recorded. And then watch this lady behind her. This is very strange also.
Possibly more of an observation, but I'm interested to hear all of your thoughts. We are all very lucky that we are across the channel and we are the far side of Europe. But Ukraine is actually much closer than all of us think.
Page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employee Roya Demlo, who you just spoke about, which took place on July 17, 2023. In that line, she says, the question was asked, okay, if someone were to leave here today, were to leave this interview and were to suggest or imply that when you said the laptop was real, that it meant that the FBI had affirmatively determined in October 2020 that the laptop belonged to Hunter Biden.
One of the things I've learned in my tenure in the Senate is that the nominees saying that they're willing to work with me amounts to exactly 0. We need to get this fixed. Thank you.
Those people probably wrote the speeches, but it looks like they're human ventriloquist dolls.
Recent plane crash was a ritualistic Freemasonic incantation sacrifice for the Super Bowl. Now, all this is based on the numerical spectrum of the Freemasonic order, because 33 is basically the embodiment of a Freemasonic number, and 33 is connected to a form of the Black Nobility Eagle that is equated to the Philadelphia Eagles, that is basically the symbology of patriarchy. You cannot also negate the fact that the airplane took off on runway 33. Now, this is also esoterically connected to the number 13, which is a matriarchal number. Now, 13 is also working in tandem with the Chiefs, because it's connected to the indigenous people that was connected to Turtle Island. So you got plane 64 crashing into helicopter number 3. So you take 6 plus 4 plus 3 equals 13, which is the embodiment of a matriarchal number. Now, one thing you got to understand about the technology of Black Hawk helicopters is that they're able to fly on an autonomous level because it came from the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency that works in tandem with artificial intelligence. So that means that a Black Hawk can fly without a pilot in sight. Now, when you understand that the universe is mathematical, you know that everything in the simulation is not a coincidence, because all this is basically esoterically connected to Kobe Bryant, because we're in the year of the snake and he was the Black Mamba. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, they tweeted out this picture right here with a helicopter on Kobe Bryant's death anniversary.
First, I want to send my condolences out to the families who lost loved ones during this, but whenever I see the number 33 associated with something like this, I immediately think that there could be a deeper connection. This is real. I hope he at least called somebody to come take a look. Filming a TikTok in this situation seems counterproductive. This is the epitome of the concept of karmic retribution. They tell us what they're doing through cartoons, movies, etc., so they don't have to face the karma for it in the next life. I don't think it works like that, boys.
There is a very eerie pattern that I have come to realize about the last 3 airplane incidents that have occurred within the last 2 weeks. It dawned on me with the medevac plane, and it just got confirmed with the plane that seemingly randomly caught fire in Houston, Texas. The American Airlines flight was trying to land at Reagan Airport. The medevac plane went down right outside of Roosevelt Mall. The Houston plane caught fire at Bush Airport. See any pattern, any connection between the names of all of those places? I'm not a conspiracy theory girly at all, but it's a little weird.
This could just be a complete coincidence, but if I decide to take a trip to New York in the near future and I'm scheduled to land at JFK International, I would be lying if I said I wouldn't be slightly nervous, especially if there's a cancer doctor on board. I'm gonna have to just take the Greyhound.
They be putting it in the movies, man. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything. I don't believe the world is flat. But I've heard stories. Now look at this. Hold on, just wait for it.
looks like they were trying to tell us the same thing the Truman Show was trying to tell us.
The UK recently completed a carbon credit system trial that sets a daily allowance for each person, a literal cap on your ability to travel, purchase food, clothing, and even heat your home, all rationed under the guise of saving the planet. Your daily carbon limit is capped at 40 kilograms of CO2, with food restricted to just 4 kilograms. So how does this translate to actual food? Well, according to the report, a packet of cheese accounts for 1.1 kilograms of CO2, over 25% of your daily allowance. Red meat? Forget it. If you spent your entire 4 kg allowance on steak, you'd get around 8 ounces of meat. While meat and dairy products have the highest carbon footprints, 2 slices of bread would account for just 3%, while a can of Coke just 4%. But don't worry, Big Pharma will have you covered, because medications and healthcare products will not be factored into your daily carbon limit. But here's where things get terrifying. They're not just suggesting it, they're testing it. Food manufacturers are already slapping carbon labels on their products. And let's not forget the food supply chain either. These policies directly threaten local farmers and producers as red meat gets penalized heavily, while synthetic lab-grown meat is being propped up as a solution. The fashion industry contributes approximately 10% of global carbon emissions, with much of the impact coming from production and transportation, which is now your problem. A single cotton t-shirt will cost you 2.1 kilograms of CO2. Synthetics will cost you much more, and if you like leather, just buy it now. But you can save those carbon credits by purchasing used clothes. So, how about travel? The average person burns through 2.3 kg per day going about their daily lives. However, if you ever see yourself going on vacation again, you're going to want to start biking or walking to work, because a typical round trip via airplane from London to New York emits approximately 1,600 kilograms of CO2 per person, equating to 80 days of your total carbon allowance under the PCA guidelines. Heating accounts for a significant share of household emissions, especially in colder climates, with the average household burning through 6 kg of CO2 per day. The recommended solution? Be cold. or fork over a bunch of money to install renewable energy sources in your home. There's also an allowance for leisure and entertainment. Streaming services, gaming, or internet usage at home or on your phone relies on data centers powered by electricity. So, that will cost you. Going to a concert or a ball game? Well, that involves travel, lighting, and heating or cooling. Boom, pay the toll. You like gardening, DIY projects, or recreational sports? Those all involve resource consumption, and there's no free lunch in the credit carbon world. Now, you might be thinking, surely this is just a trial. Wrong. This isn't just being tested, it's being planned. In the UK white paper, they openly admit that their goal is to encourage behavior towards implementing this system. They're normalizing the idea that your lifestyle is subject to bureaucratic quotas handed down by governments that live in luxury while telling you to eat less meat. Surprisingly, here's where it gets dystopian. The system isn't about reducing emissions where it matters. The report itself acknowledges that 70% of carbon emissions come from sectors beyond individual control, including industry, exports, and military operations. But instead of tackling those, they're coming after you. You see, this isn't about reducing carbon, it's about reducing you.
So let me get this right. We have to pay a tax for eating a steak, but billionaires don't have to pay taxes, period. Make it make sense.
Can somebody tell me how there's a house right here? See that house? Look, there's a house right there. But then when you look in this window...
She could have just made a jump cut edit to a different window, but scrubbing through the footage, I don't really see anything. So unless you guys have any other ideas, I'm actually stumped.
Here's Post Malone's new ad for Oreo cookies. Let's take a look at that cookie. See that symbol? I'm sure you know what it stands for by now. When people say what's taking so long, it's because of this. This doesn't go away overnight.
I hope this is just an innocent cookie advertisement, but this is one of those clips that if you know, you know.
Danger, do not go beyond this point. But look, there's somebody out there with a face. They're sleeping in the water. Look at their nose. See? The nose, the mouth, the eyes. He went beyond this point. He's not in danger. He's in the water. Water!
Getting petrified while having a beach day has to be one of the worst ways to go out.
When you hear the word microchip, you probably think of computers or maybe smartphones.
Yeah, the last thing you might think of is contraceptives. Believe it or not, CBS 2's Dr. Max Gomez says doctors are testing a wireless microchip contraceptive.
This microchip may be the future of contraception. Implanted under the skin, it can deliver tiny amounts of hormone like a birth control pill.
This kind of technology could have a major effect and revolutionize various aspects of medicine, including birth control.
MIT professor Dr. Bob Langer and biotech firm Microchips first tested the technology in 2012 in osteoporosis patients. It was a success. That's when the Gates Foundation asked if the chip could be used to prevent pregnancy. The chip can hold enough hormone to prevent pregnancy for up to 16 years. When a woman wants to conceive, she or her doctor can just turn off the device with a remote. Researchers are now working on the remote to make sure it can't be hacked.
The remote control must be put up against the skin in order to establish communication. And the reason we do that is we want to have close-range communication to prevent anyone from listening in on the encrypted signal.
Our race is slowly but surely becoming cyborgs.
What the?
It looks like a power substation exploded, but you can tell everybody's paranoid from all these recent sightings because when anything happens now, the first thing we blame are the UFOs.
Well, would you look at that? What appears to look like the remains of some ancient structure found on Mars. Here are what ancient Roman ruins in Syria and Iraq look like. And here's the one on Mars. And of course, it's totally real. You can even see it yourself in the Mars Orbiter Camera Library, where this long strip of a photo was taken in a crater with the Mars Global Surveyor way back in 2001. And if you zoom in on that strip, at the very top, you'll find our Martian ruins. A seemingly perfectly symmetrical square, about 3 kilometers on each side, so it would be massive. Of course, if they haven't already, you can bet NASA will deem this either a natural formation or a photography trick of the eyes. But I mean, along with the pyramids, the face, that doorway, all the other questionable shit we've been finding on Mars over the past few decades, not to mention the remote viewing mission the CIA went on back in 1984 in which a psychic apparently telepathically visited Mars 1 million years in the past, where he saw pyramids, obelisks, and a dying elder race looking for a new home, all confirmed in a declassified report, by the way. Oh, and now even Elon Musk, the man taking humanity to Mars, mentioned that he may want to investigate it. We gotta know, not even what if, but what on Mars used to live there.
We don't even know how the pyramids here on Earth were built yet, so instead of investigating anything on Mars, let's try to figure that out first.
Have you ever heard of Nicholas J. Clayton? This is me standing next to St. Mary's Cathedral. He designed in 1872 and was done in 1874. What about the Ursuline Academy? Done in 4 years. Wow, incredible. Maybe you've heard of Old Red, the Ashbel Smith building in Galveston, Texas. Nicholas J. Clayton, again. Here's Mr. Clayton's St. Patrick's Church, completed in 1877, being raised. How'd they do that? He also designed Grace Church here in Galveston. 1 year to build. Magnificent. Maybe you've seen Bishop's Palace. And it is a palace indeed. It's in Galveston, Texas. One of Nicholas J. Clayton's. Maybe you've heard of Ball High School in Galveston. Looking like a state capital. Wow. Nicholas J. Clayton was a fine architect, obviously. But who were the foremen, the masons, the carpenters, the stonecutters, the bricklayers? Who were the gentlemen that built these structures? In under 4 years, this one was. The Ursuline Academy? I don't know. It's just the questions that I have today. You can call it Tartarian, you can call it whatever the heck you want. I'm just curious why nobody else is curious. I hope I started your rabbit hole. Have a good day.
With enough manpower, I'm sure structures like these could be built in a short amount of time, but what makes me question it is that there's never any construction photos. I know their lives just flash before their eyes. Regardless if it's a ghost or somebody living in the attic, I'm breaking at least first thing in the morning.
Right, we've got a pretty strange sighting sent in via an astronomer looking at Saturn, and he notices a strange object that flies past the rings and goes behind the planet itself. Here it is, right? And it glides across, and then you can see it go behind the rings itself. And he says, in quotations, any astronomers out there that can help me figure out what I've just seen, right? And there's a lot of people in the comment sections, I'll leave a link down below to the post, that are quite perplexed and can't quite understand what this object is, because it's way out there and it's definitely going behind the planet. Pretty damn interesting, man. I'm loving all this sort of like planetary stuff. You guys let me know what you think.
Judging by the scale of it, whatever it is extremely large. It must be the New Jersey Orb's mothership. It felt like that rock was falling forever. This just made me a believer in the hollow earth theory. They just found the entrance to Agartha.
What if I told you there is a place in Coralia where trees only grow to a certain point and then they literally start twisting and bending and growing back down or out, as if an invisible force is pushing on them? Oh, it gets weirder. In this area, it's called Mount Vadavara. The locals literally call it Death Mountain because there's practically no animals, no birds, and the water is uninhabited. I'm not done yet. The ancient Sami people were said to have worshipped it as a sacred site because it holds some sort of powerful energy. There are boulders balanced on tiny rocks, which all the scientists say were left behind when the glaciers melted. Come on. They say all of this was done when the glaciers melted. I don't think a glacier carved a perfect sphere. That's just my opinion. But these are called sides, and the Sami people say they represent nature or earth spirits. Now, some people think that there's something to do with ancient aliens in this area. I truly believe there was some sort of ancient civilization there. There is this that is carved like a well, and there's one identical to it in Bulgaria, but no one has taken the time to study this well and even see how deep it goes, so the depth is completely unknown to this day. There are these 13 steps that they call the ladder to the sky, and guess what? Scientists also say these 13 steps were carved by the glacier. But I find it awfully coincidental that some ancient pyramids also have specifically 13 steps. Probably just a coincidence. The scientists are right, as usual. Trees twisting, carved steps, a carved well, 1,600 sades. What do you guys think's going on here?
I feel like these archaeologists and scientists are just coming up with explanations off the top of their heads. No, I feel like it's more mathematically plausible that actual aliens set those boulders there versus a glacier. And we haven't even confirmed alien life yet. You can tell this UPS driver at some point had a vicious run-in with these two dogs before. If they order a package any bigger than this, he's just gonna tell them to pick it up from the distribution center. But that was the video, guys. Don't forget to sub up, hit that notification bell, help us reach 300,000 subscribers. And to everybody who's already subbed up, I just want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this journey for the past couple years and helping make this channel what it is today. This really is one big family, and I got nothing but love and respect for each and every one of you. Until next time, y'all take care of yourself.